Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakhakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article. As you can see, let me see if I can play it again. This here article right here on RT, it says Russia to kit out warships with new aircraft carrier killer rockets as standoff with West continues to heat up on high seas. And we're seeing that, basically things are being prepared for this here final showdown of World War III, all right, between, the two big, the two heads, basically America and Russia, all right, with their counterparts that's going to be along with them, all right. But nevertheless, as far as, we're here to, how do I put it, go into the prophecies that are at hand. There's a lot of different things politically that's going on here and there that really doesn't have anything too much to do with the prophecies and things like that. But things like this, this is all a part of, these are the pieces being put together for these prophecies to take place. All right. So play this here video one more time. All right. And I'll kind of go into a little bit of, the significance of this. All right. So it says, warships and boats of the Russian Navy will soon be carrying advanced new missiles designed to take out enemy vessels in a single critical blow after Moscow's Ministry of Defense signed a contract with their manufacturer. And one of the reasons that this is going to be a very devastating blow or a problem for America is the fact that they always bring the fight to you. All right. They're not really, this is the virgin daughter of Babylon. All right. She ain't never been touched like that. So America's stance on these wars and things like that is they always bring the fight to you. All right. So they have, their military bases everywhere around the globe, the land bases. But then you also have these, how they call it, aircraft carriers. All right. Which is like a naval airstrip, more or less to say, which will allow them to refuel and reload on ammo and things like that and continue to fight, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because, one of the things that give you a higher ground in the war front is what? Air superiority. All right. And just to give you an example of certain things, of how the aircraft carriers play a major role into these things. All right. Is the fact of here in Tampa, you have an Air Force base called MacDill Air Force Base, which is what they call Central Command or CENTCOM. That's their headquarters or their post, their outpost. And I believe CENTCOM is the Middle East. All right. So when you look into like the things that you have going on in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all those places in the Middle East, Syria, and things like that. All right. Those decisions are being orchestrated out of Tampa. All right. So, but it wouldn't be very beneficial for them to take the planes, fly like an F-35 fully armed from Tampa to the Middle East to go make a bomb or to do a bombing run and then try to fly back. They don't have enough fuel. They have to constantly keep refueling in the air and everything like that. And then they have to limit the amount of payload that they can take over there. All right. Just so the fuel will last even longer. All right. But nevertheless, if you have these aircraft carriers stationed out in the water, all right, you can constantly, like let's say, for instance, America want to go at it with China, they can pretty much station their aircraft carriers right off the coast of China. All right. And they can be constantly taking off from these aircraft carriers, bombing it over in China and flying right back and then reload, refuel, and keep it going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because America can pull up on China, whereas China would have to fly all the way from China all the way over to America just to bomb their ass and try to make it all the way back, man. All right, it's not very beneficial for them to, keep everything land-based, all right? So this evens out the playing field. If you look at a map of American military bases around the globe and NATO military bases around the globe, you'll see that Russia is completely surrounded by both NATO and American military bases on their borders, all right? So that's one thing, but nevertheless, they can always move the fight to other places by using these aircraft carriers. And what makes that obsolete is if Russia can sit there and shoot them down with their hypersonic missiles, in which America doesn't have any defense against a hypersonic missile, no matter where it's headed, let alone on a goddamn warship. All right. They ain't even going to hear or see it coming. It's just going to hit their ass and then that's it. All right. And not only does it take out the ship, but the planes that are on board, or if you have planes over there flying around, they need to refuel, or if they need to reload, it pretty much stops all those things. All right. So you see how these things are ramping up for these two big major players to go at it in World War III. All right. And you can see how Russia is gaining the upper hand. It says on Friday, the RIA reported that military chief had penned the deal with Rocket Design Bureau, NPO. Under the terms of the agreement, deliveries of the Zircon complex will be received next year, marking the first time a serial anti-ship hypersonic missile has been routinely deployed. All right, so hey, you know, this is the time and the place for these prophecies to start speaking. All right. Last month, a warship sailing in the Arctic water reported a successful test fire in the Zircon, according to officials. It struck the target in the White Sea with a direct hit at over a distance of 217 miles. The test confirmed. So, hey, just think about that. All right, you have basically a floating air base 217 miles off your coast. All right, you don't want them to get any closer or anything like that. So, hey, you can hit them, you know, out there while they still at sea, man. All right. The test confirmed the tactical and technical performance of the missile, and its flight speed was around Mach 7. This means that the projectile flew at hypersonic velocity, 7 times faster than the speed of sound. All right, so hey, again, you ain't gonna even hear this thing coming. The Zircon has been nicknamed the aircraft carrier killer on the basis that a single warhead has the potential to take down large targets. All right, and hey, again, this is, you know, pretty much putting throwing a wrench into America's plans, because, you know, they're always on the offensive. I think they call it asymmetrical warfare, where they're always on the offensive. You know, they don't even wait for they don't really plan for a defensive measure. All right, just like with their their missile defense systems versus Russia's missile defense system, whereas Russia put a lot into their missile defense systems first and foremost, and then they worked on their offensive weapons, whereas America's like, we don't really need no defensive weapons, because they operate on a doctrine of what they call the preemptive strike doctrine, more or less to say. All right, because their thing is, we're going to just hit you first. We ain't got to worry about the retaliation, because we're going to hit you and hit you hard. All right. Since just weeks ago, the U.S. Strategic Command Chief Admiral Charles Richard warned that the country's current terrestrial and space-based sensors architecture may not be sufficient to detect and track these hypersonic missiles. May not. They already know that they can't track, trace, or even hit these things. Matter of fact, with their missile defense system that they have currently, they can't even have an 80% target hit rate with just regular missiles and things like that, man. Their missile defense system isn't all the way up to par. All right. Nevertheless, a hypersonic missile. All right. They not catching that or seeing that, and they don't even have well, they're in developments of hypersonic weapons, but they don't, they hadn't perfected that yet. All right. It says a series of tense incidents between NATO warships and Russian sailors in the recent weeks have caused concern that potential maritime conflict could be on the cards. All right. And like I was saying, the point of, going at it at sea and things like that against America would be to how do I say, not deplete them, but to take away their ability to have air superiority. All right, because you got the air superiority, you can sit over there and start bombing, like, let's say their missile defense systems and things like that. You take that out, because that's how you would want to go to war with somebody like, let's say, Russia. All right, you would go in, and before you start attacking military bases and everything else like that, just like in the olden days, you got to scale the wall first. You got to knock down their protection, their hedge first. All right, so take out their missile defense systems and things like that. All right, then you can go into these military bases and installments and start working them at that end. But nevertheless, if Russia can pretty much hold them back, more or less to say, from even getting that close to them, all right, by taking out their aircraft carriers, all right, it's going to stop them from being able to launch these air campaigns on them, all right, which is going to give them more time to conduct the business they have to conduct. Now, ultimately, we know this is all according to the Most High's plan, but this is all being shaped up. The Most High's plan is being shaped up, more or less to say, and this is, how do I say, the steps that are being taken to implement those things, all right? So let's jump into the scriptures. Let's go to Ezekiel 38 and 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army. All right. And, I always go into this about them putting the hooks into their jaws, but, one of those, going into that, one of the things of bringing Russia back was into that major dominant military force that they used to be, man. All right. You had like, what's his name? Joseph Stalin and them. Hey, that was a force to be reckoned with. That was really the only people that, what's his name? Adolf Hitler really feared, because see, Hitler was like, shit, we good, we Gucci, we're going to war with these other folks. Ain't no problem with that. We all good there. But I don't really know if I can trust Stalin them. I don't know if I can really trust him. He might try to invade me from the other side. So, hey, he wound up taking the fight to him. All right. But nevertheless, now, going back in time, Russia was nowhere in a state to be able to conduct these types of things. Their missile defense systems were all still outdated. All right. Speaking on the American systems, their systems are old and kind of like pretty shitty. But the Russians at that point in time was way worse than that. But now you're seeing them taking this lead. All right. They're coming into the forefront of the military weaponry production. All right. They're becoming to the forefront. They're having the top weaponry and things like that now, man. All right. It says, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. All right. And so, we at least I do. I go into this a lot about their missile defense systems and things like that, of how, when you really go into a lot of those things, even the Americans will tell you, hey, man, with the American system, they can't take the bombardment of multiple warheads coming in with their systems. Whereas the Russian system, they have, you have to go kind of far into their how their whole setup is, like with the S-400 and then more advanced than that, where you have, maybe, it's like a two-part radar. All right, they have that one radar, and then you can have pretty much unlimited amount of launchers to go along with that, man. All right, and then they can change a trajectory rate midair. All right, so you see Russia's defense mechanisms getting more and more updated and things like that, man. All right, but now, however, in the same sense, you have them with these offensive weapons. All right, and now again, taking away America's, their, how do I put it, their ability to launch flights from out the ocean, or give them the fear of those things. Like, yo, man, y'all, it's not the olden days where you can just roll up with your Navy warships and your aircraft carriers, and we're gonna just be like, fuck, man, they got us. It's like, nah, bring that shit out here if you want to, and then you'll think twice. Just like how America think twice about flying that damn F-35 anywhere near that S-400. That'll make them think twice. It's not like the olden days where you can just fly over and bomb their missile defense systems. No, it's a new dawn. It's a new day, man. And these American Edomites are being taken out of power. All right. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. And you basically have some, what they call military exercises, joint military exercises are taking place right now. You have America and them and their allies doing military drills in response to basically Russia, China, and Iran about to start some drills out here in the Persian Gulf. All right. And so, going into that article, he was talking a little bit about those things. It's like, yo, man, because America would just, whenever countries like, let's say China was doing some kind of drills or whatever, what America would do is they sell their naval fleet up on your ass to show you, like, yo, bro, if y'all really get out of line, we got enough arsenal right here to take all y'all shit out right now. All right. But now Russia's like, shit, we'll bring one of these boats over here if y'all, and if y'all want to get out of line, shit, we'll just sink your aircraft carriers and all your shit on board, man. All right. Then you'll have to start launching from your land bases. All right. Or you'll have, it's pushing the line back. All right. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare thyself. All right. And this is what you see going on, man. Every once in a while, you're seeing, like, a lot of the news that you're seeing coming out of Russia is with developments of a lot of different things. All right. But one of the major things that they keep being in the news for developing is what? Military weaponry. All right. Or military equipment, whether it's offensive or defensive. All right. And now this is a new blow to where they have a aircraft carrier destroyer. All right. They got a new Satan III coming out. And these are all offensive weapons, hypersonic missiles. All right. They have things now that America can't even. They trying to catch up with just one thing. They trying to figure out how to get this stealth fighter, the F-35, to work and not be obsolete. But Russia didn't beat them with that S-400. So they ain't even got to worry about a plane-to-plane combat. They're like, bring y'all shit over if y'all want to. All right. But then, with their missiles, not missiles, their how do you say, their hypersonic missiles and things like that. All right. America is trying to match the same type of aggression and things like that. But they're so far behind, they don't even have the technology to start creating these things, man. All right. It's just like how you hear about places like, let's just say, North Korea or Iran, they're trying to get a nuke and everything else like that. And whoop, while America already has a nuke. So like, why y'all trying to develop a nuke? We already got them. So y'all behind the curve. But, you know, in reality, we know that Iran and North Korea, they're not trying to develop no damn nuclear bombs. Iran is trying to make nuclear power over there, the energy, all right? They would never be trying to develop no damn nuclear warhead or anything like that because they could just buy them from Russia. Russia would happily sell it to their ass, man. And plus, they have the delivery system already, all right? Those rockets, you know, look up any country that has satellites in space and how they got to space. The same rocket that took their satellite to space is the same rocket that will deliver those ICBM missiles. This is where that design comes from. But nevertheless, we see in Russia developing more and more of these here weapons for the day of the Lord. All right, let me oh wait, I could have kept reading down. Let me start at verse 10. Thus saith Yahweh power, it shall also come to pass that in the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and shall say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Why is it America the unwalled place of unwalled villages? All right, because again, their war tactic is, look, we gonna always bring the smoke to you. You know, America being on the western side of the Western Hemisphere for one, with only the Canadians and you know, quote unquote the Latinos, right? You only got Esau and Jake over here as far as, you know, the Canadians, and then, you know, Jake down at the bottom. They don't really have no real adversaries over here. So that's like being an extension or a far off military base, meaning you'd have to have your long range weaponry or travel devices to be able to get to America first and foremost. That's their first line of defense. They got to come all the way over here. And if they want to sell their ships, we'll see them for days on end before they even get over here, man. All right. Whereas America's tactic is, look, we're going to station all our shit over here so we can hit y'all at any point in time, and y'all wouldn't even really know no difference. All right. But nevertheless, you know, America never really had to have their defenses up like that because, first of all, they would see the people from miles and miles, days away as they start to make their approach. All right. It says, verse 12, to take spoil and to take prey and to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods and that dwell in the midst of the land. All right. Man, I can keep reading, but nevertheless, let me just real quick go on to this other precept before it slips my mind. And Jeremiah 51 or it's not 51. Yeah. Jeremiah 50:9, it says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. All right. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. All right. So ultimately, you know, this is going to be Russia and their assembly of nations that they're preparing not only for themselves, but these other nations to ultimately take America out of power. All right. Let me grab another precept. In fact, I'm going to read this a little bit down, and I'm going to go grab another precept. Jeremiah 50:12, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited. It shall be wholly desolate. And everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, and her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her and take vengeance upon her, and that she have done, do unto her. So ultimately, you're going to see these nations band together with Russia, and they're going to be shooting all their arrows over on America, man. And there's nothing that America's going to be able to do to stop it, man. All right. And again, you know, America has all their plans and everything else like that. Oh, well, we're going to bring the fight to them with our naval fleet and everything and got our jets and planes over there. Hey, but if if Russia can sit there and render all that obsolete by taking your damn aircraft carriers out the water beforehand, all right, you know, and bombard your missile defense systems and things like that, man, you're in a losing war. So all your normal military tactics of asymmetrical warfare, preemptive strikes and things like that, air superiority, naval superiority and things like that is all becoming rendered useless. The F-35 ain't no good with the S-400. well, any type of air superiority using your naval warships and your naval aircraft carriers are now becoming obsolete. Because I believe China also has a aircraft carrier destroyer missile that they had just recently developed and things like that as well too, man. All right, so as you can see, all of America's quote unquote so-called strengths are now becoming rendered useless. All right. Verse 22, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. All right, you see in the development of these land destroying weapons. All right, you got this. I believe it was either the Satan one. I think it was the Satan one where it had enough firepower to destroy something. One missile had enough power in it to destroy a landmass the size of Texas. All right, now they're on the third version of this here situation, man. So how much more, in your hypersonic missiles, man? You can't even see or hear that thing coming, man. And you don't have nothing fast enough to knock it out the sky, man. And you don't have anything accurate enough to hit just a regular missile, let alone something going hypersonic and that can maneuver from its original trajectory rate, man. So this is looking like, all of America's weaponry and everything like that is becoming useless, man. All right. Verse 23, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And we're seeing the weaponry that's being developed, like I just said, to knock America out of this position, man. Oh, well, we got air superiority. Not no more. We can see your ass in the air. Oh, we got this naval fleet just rolling up on you. Not no more when we can just shoot that shit about the ocean, man. All right. We got missile defense systems. Not no more when we can bombard, over bombard is another word, but you can stress it out to where it's like too much shit for it to handle. All right. So, hey, this is how, the hammer of the whole earth is being cut asunder. Verse 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware, for thou art found and caught because thou hast striven against Yahweh. All right. So, hey, America's getting caught up into their own BS, and they're getting caught up into the trick bag of the Most High. Verse 25, Yahweh hath opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of Yahweh power of hosts in the land of the Chaldees. So not only are those nukes, but you have now the development of these aircraft carrier destroyers. All right. These missile defense systems and things like that, man. All right. They got satellite weapons, laser weapons and things like that. So, there's nothing really that America can do to kind of stand up against these things, man. All right, it's starting to look like, hey, man, they're looking like the more inferior nation now when it comes to all their military equipment that they put so much trust into, man. All right, the Most High is taking the sword out of these American Edomites' hands and putting them into these Russian Edomites' hands, man. All right, now these American Edomites are going to be on the other end of the sword for the first time, man. All right. Maybe it's in 51. Oh, here it is right here. Jeremiah 51 and 11. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. All right. They got these smart weaponry now. All right. Like I said, they can change trajectory in the air. All right. Then they also have, these high class missile defense systems. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. All right. And so this is, the Most High. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So this is, the Most High now, moving and working on the minds of these kings to perform his will. All right. Going back to Jeremiah 51 and 11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. It says, for his device is against Babylon. All right. And Babylon is here in America. So his device, his weaponry and all these things is all being developed for what? World War III, to take America out of that power position. All right. It says, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. So the development and the advancements of these nuclear weapons, thermonuclear weapons, the advancement of and the creation of hypersonic weapons, aircraft carrier destroyers and all these things. This is the time that the Most High spoke about in these prophecies of now giving Russia the upper hand, putting the hooks in the jaws, bringing them back to that superpower state, man. All right, bringing them back to be something feared and making America sit there, because, hey, how's the hammer the whole earth cut asunder, man? This is who it is, the one who with the continual stroke. Isaiah 14:4. Yep, 4-6. Thou shalt take up this, let me just start from 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? All right, because, see, the Most High is working on the minds of these kings and advancing the weaponry and things like that of the Russians. All right. Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Like I said, he's taking a sword up out of these American Edomites' hands and putting it into the Russian Edomites' hands. All right. Because this is we just read, it just said basically this is the will of the Most High to destroy this here land. Verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. So, hey, man, as Russia keep advancing more and more of these weapons and things like that, man, ultimately America's allies and things are going to wind up turning on them like, yo, man, we can't stand against this. We're basically in a situation where we could, lose drastically in this here war to Russia and then be in a bad position because, hypothetically, if things was to keep going on forever, because we know that these Russians, they're going to take America out of place and power, but, the Most High, Yahushua is coming back, and he going to put these damn Russians in subjection, too. They still Edomites, so it ain't like they getting away. We not pro-Russian or nothing like that. But nevertheless, in this here scenario, all right, the Most High is using these Russians to basically take America out of their position of power, to break that rulership, all right? Going back to his persecuted and none hindereth. Yeah, like I was saying, these other nations are like, yo, we got too much to lose. But hypothetically, if things was to go on after World War III, these nations would say, hey, man, you know what? It would be more beneficial for us not to stay at America's side and take the full brunt of this Russian force that's coming in, and they're going to wind up winning. But nevertheless, if things, if America was to fall, we would just go into Russia to get supply from Russia. You already seen that happen now, where some of America's allies and things like that are starting to get weaponry, i.e. Turkey, from Russia, all right? Germany and Germany and other parts of Europe want to get this natural gas and energy from Russia and things like that, man. All right, so these things are all being, all these moves are being, put in place now for, Russia to gain the upper hand, all right, and to be brought into World War III, and for the Most High's judgment to go forth, all right? But nevertheless, the point was made. But nevertheless, we see now Russia is preparing, for this great battle. All right. And ultimately, it's the Lord that's working on the minds of these kings to bring forth what? His will and his the visions, the prophecies, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.